worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. Season 2.
Hello and welcome to the Worst Idea of All Time podcast, episode 49. My name is Tim Batt.
My name is Guy Montgomery. And this truly feels like the worst idea of all time.
This is the end. This is the end, my friend.
No, but it's not.
Not quite yet, but we're getting ever so tantalizingly close. And I tell you what, it couldn't come any sooner. Because that was one difficult viewing.
That was just
There's a lot going on in the room.
there always is. Specters and ghouls.
Yeah.
They've started haunting me. And you, Tim. Anytime that movie's on, you're kind of at the mercy of the worst parts of your brain. That's where the specters and ghouls live. In the worst part of your brain, don't you think?
There's a psychology to it. There's like, because when you're at your goodest, you're fine. And then when something like this comes along, you get dulled to everything, and suddenly you're left to your own devices, and it's not good. Your brain goes to the worst place first.
Where does your brain go? Because it kind of just goes to a not a place of sadness, but like a sort of a very reluctant place of it's like your brain just goes up in arms.
It leaves. I think it's the short answer. It packs up and fucks off.
This is the only part in it.
And then you're just, there's not a lot of times in your life when you're an adult when you're just left to your own unguarded, core, raw self without any mental defense.
And more specifically, there aren't many times when you're sent to that place and have the whole experience underpinned by Sex and the City 2.
I feel, before we get onto the Sex and the City 2 bit, which I think is very valid considering it's more or less the crux of what we do here, there's something very... It's regressive. It takes you back to being frightened as a child. There is a unique vulnerability to being in this kind of emotional state. You don't yet have the toolkit to be able to deal with frightening situations. You don't have the knowledge of the world to figure out that it's all going to be okay. You're just a little kid rocking around the world, very scared because you're a kid and you don't know that things generally work themselves out at that point. So you're just like, subconsciously in your head, you're kind of like, it could all end at any moment. I'm aware of the concept of death. I know that some people's lives just end. Therefore, maybe mine will at any time for any reason.
I got lost in the middle of that metaphor. Are you a child who is afraid of death, or are you a child who doesn't know to be afraid of death? And
I am a child who is afraid of death, with that unique rawness of being a child. You know when you're an adult afraid of death and you have a few tools in your toolkit to be able to rationalize it away and be like, the stats are that I'll live to be 75. And
do
whatever.
you take comfort in the idea that the stats say you'll live till you're 75?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. Do you not?
No, I don't really mind.
How do you mean you don't really mind? Like, you mean like if you drop dead right now, that'd kind of be fine? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, like I mean, it wouldn't have any impact on me. It would affect a lot of people around me, but
Well, if it was a sudden, yeah, that's true. If it was just all of a sudden you got hit by a comet, that'd be a good way to go, I think.
That would be a fucking exceptionally cool way to go. You'd be like a small version of the movie Armageddon.
Or dinosaurs.
Or a small version of dinosaurs. How much muscle mass would you have to absorb the power of a comet and not have anyone else die or any other part of the earth be impacted?
No less than 25 Hulk Hogans.
0% body fat, 25% Hulk Hogan.
And 25 times a Hulk Hogan, I think. I'm not sure that even one Hulk Hogan could carry the weight of a comet that managed to get through our atmosphere unto himself.
No.
Doesn't feel...
If you dream
feel
it,
like the math on that is good.
you can do it. I am at my most vulnerable right now.
I want to give some context to this
This is so
episode.
This
So
is
guy
raw.
guy came to my house fucking chopped, as we say in New Zealand, like very, very hot. Very weapons hot. You've been having a great day, eh, Guy?
Yeah, I was at
What were you doing?
I went up to the beach. I played a game called Cub.
What's Cub? How do you play Cub?
It's like a weird sort of Scandinavian wood throwing. It's like petanque, but with a little bit more strategy and teamwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there are two teams. They line up 5 wooden blocks along their baseline, and then you have throwing sticks, and you want to knock over the other team's blocks.
Cool.
And they want to knock yours over, and then you earn a right to throw it at the king cub or the king kunta.
That sounds awesome.
Yes, it's really fun. And yeah, there were other rules in place to ensure that anyone who was struggling with the game would be appropriately punished by imbibing more alcohol than is 100% necessary.
Now, let me throw a question at you. With the unique experience of your day today, who of the 4 main characters from Sex and the City 2 do you think would be best equipped to be a really killer Cub player?
Well, it entirely comes down to who do you think has the best hand-eye out of the 4 gals. And I think, expressly, I think it's either... I think Samantha.
Why?
Well, the first thing I thought, I didn't immediately think Samantha would be good at it, because there's no evidence of any of them playing any sort of ball games or anything to suggest that they'd have good hand-eye. But I thought Charlotte presumably wouldn't be good at ball games.
I was going to call you on the first time you said ball games and try and make a sex pun, but I was a little too slow. And now I haven't made a good joke, but I just wanted to flag that it exists.
Yeah,
that opportunity
you flagged
was
it,
there.
so congratulations. And then I thought Miranda. At first I was like, oh, Miranda would be good, and then I thought, I don't know, there's no evidence to suggest that. And so then
Okay, well, Charlotte's definitely not going to be good. Let's go process of elimination on this.
yeah,
Charlotte's not going to be good. I don't think Carrie would be good either.
no,
So we are left with Miranda and Samantha. And I think, like, out of the 2, I am gonna go Miranda as well.
I went Samantha.
Ultimately, but you dwelled on Miranda. All right, well, I guess we're split.
We're absolutely split. I just think Samantha would have the self-belief to just force herself to be good.
I'll buy that. I'll come over to your side of Samanthaville.
It looks lonely where you are.
It's gin. And there was an episode in the first season where I drank a lot of gin, I think. It didn't end well either.
I think it was the day after you drank a lot of gin.
Oh, it was too, that's right. Bloody hell. How quickly we forget, eh, Monty? How quickly we all forget. I can't believe we've only got 3 more watches, though. Oh, 2 more? 3 more.
3 more.
3 more. Fuck. That 1 more still just makes me... Ugh.
This is going to be
Disappointed.
a sweet release.
I think this is a real crawl over the finish line, though, rather than a salubrious. You know how, like, often when you see really long-distance bikers, they'll do a big hoopla where they throw their hands in the air because they've got a little reserve energy. But when you see, like, marathon runners or whatever, they're just fucking crawling over the finish line. We're going to be marathon runners in this, bro. We've just run one of them ultra marathons. We're dehydrated husks of humans. And it won't be a celebration when we make it. It'll just be a sigh of relief that it didn't knock us off.
Yeah.
That's what 52 is. That's what that finish line looks like for me. Just a crawl.
And after clicking up
heartbeat.
49 kilometers, I couldn't I couldn't in good conscience disagree with you.
Wouldn't it have been good if while we were doing something negative, like watching the movie every week, we were also doing something positive, like going for a run every week, and we'd add like 1 kilometer per week to our run. So by the end, we were just fucking amazing runners.
I feel like it'd be tough if you were focusing, like, if you're consciously increasing by 1 kilometer every week, you're that is the central focus of what you're doing. You're training and you're running, and the movie is secondary. And
No,
I'm not like, I'm
just saying
that
as a counterweight,
yeah.
separately to the podcast. And
I
everything.
see.
Just like, I'm doing this harm to myself every week, but also I'm running and I'm going to run an extra K every week.
We talked about that very early on, the things you could learn to do.
Yeah.
And the way you could spend your time instead of watching Sex and the City 2.
I've decided recently I'm very keen on learning piano.
Yeah, it's tough. Do you have any grounding in?
I played a little trumpet at high school, so I sort of learnt the basics of how to read music, and I played drums as a kid as well, so I know a little, like, percussion and whatnot. So there's a little something there. But piano,
You learned how to play the drums with a trumpet from memory.
yeah, I would hold 2 trumpets in my hand and just sit on the kit and just bash the shit out of different pieces
Very
of brass.
expensive.
Yeah, it's a terrible way to learn if you're poor, which I was. Bankrupted my family.
Trumpets and drum kits. The
Trumpets
Tim
and
Bad
drum
story.
kits. It's also the second...
Drum kits and drum pits.
Trum Kits and Drum Kits was the name of the second album by... what was the band? Mr. Big's band? Intergalactic Glory Hole.
I was going to
Can't believe
say
I forgot the name of that band.
Machine Gun Jacuzzi, but that was a different band.
That is a good band, though. Machine Gun Jacuzzi sounds a little more metal or something. What are they?
Yeah, metal. I don't know. I feel like it's just a cheap knockoff. I think they mostly played Machine Gun Fellatio covers, but they made the metal songs.
There's
So,
a band that didn't get its dues. Yes, Guy.
We're doing this together, but don't you feel alone?
I do when you fall asleep like you did this episode several
I
times.
wasn't falling asleep. I don't know how many times I have to explain the way that I absorb my art to you.
We'll try one more on the mic this time.
My body was so focused on absorbing the art that it communicated to itself the only way to ensure maximum connection was to have it be absorbed, because my sentient being couldn't interface with the movie. It thrust it upon itself to absorb it through like meditation, essentially. So what Do You Look Like Sleeping was in fact me mainlining the movie.
So you were at like maximum absorption.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Well, I don't, because it's predominantly a visual feast and you had your eyes closed. That's the real bit that threw me.
I think that's where the big difference of opinion comes in, because you still think of this movie as only being able to be consumed visually, whereas the level that I'm at, I'm looking at different ways of getting it into my system, namely through meditation.
All right. Okay. This is a product comprised of audio and visual. You've cut off the visual. So what you're telling me is you're listening really hard to a movie at this point. That's what you're telling me.
No, that's what you're hearing. What I'm telling you is that I am absorbing. I'm doing a whole new thing, which is similar to absorbing. Only I change out one of the consonants, absorbing the movie from a higher place. And if what you hear when I say that is I'm only engaging with the movie orally, then that just tells me you're not ready to go to that place with me.
Well, I'm sorry for being a junior in this.
Look, you're a toiler. You're a scrapper. You're tenacious.
I'm a scoop up, but that's what I am.
You are.
I ain't nothing but a low down, dirty, horrible, yucky scoop up.
Scoop up. You are. You're something people hang off the side of their boats so that they don't, rub up against other boats.
Disgusting, dirty, filthy, squeeb up. Scooby doo doo da da ba ba da doo 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 ba da ba ba da dee da 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 ba ba da ra da Scooby doo ba ba da Scooby doo ba ba da Scooby doo boo Scooby ba da ba 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 da ba ba doo Scooby doo ba ba da ba Scooby doo ba. What's he doing? Why is he drinking gin? That's the question that we're all here to answer today. And the answer is simple.
As always.
It's never been hard. It's always been answerable.
Ain't that the truth? When it all comes down to it, these questions that we ask ourselves and each other on a weekly basis are pretty simple to answer. What would force a man to drink coffee at record pace and in record amounts on a school day?
And Guy, within your question lies the answer.
What would force a man?
A man, that's the key operative word there. He isn't, is he? He's not a man. He's not a biological entity at all. For Coffee Guy, who we, for the last weeks and weeks and months and seasons even.
For 9
We've
years.
spent seasons doing this.
All 4 seasons.
We have informed you on this guy's backstory, and some would say, how can all of these things be true of one man? That seems impossible. And I say unto you, Coffee Guy is not a man at all, for he is a competing robotic entity comprised of nanobots who is trying to take Dickbot down, and he is gathering intel in a cafe because he has such advanced algorithms that he understands somehow that Samantha's going to meet him, but he hasn't fully worked out how yet. And that is what he's doing. He's gaining intelligence because he is one of our last-ditch defenses against the great AI known as Dickbot.
Does that mean he was designed by the American government?
This is the crazy thing about Dickbot. We know the origin story of Dickbot. We know the origin story of Brady. The thing about Coffee Guy, which is what I was supposed to say, the crazy thing about Coffee Guy is he is otherworldly. He has been placed here by aliens. Because the aliens understand that if Dickbot is able to take complete control, he will basically liquefy the planet to turn us into resources to replicate himself.
What interest do aliens have in preserving humanity?
Aliens love biodiversity. It is their fucking jam. They love naturally occurring changes in species vis-a-vis evolution. They don't like fucking around with that GMO shit. They love organic processes.
Are the aliens more developed than us? Do they have more advanced technology?
Absolutely.
So, arguably, Coffee Guy should. I mean, if you're talking about aliens in 2015 designing an automated being through nanobots.
Yeah, except hold on, why
putting it against the 1970s?
Well, let's hold on. Let's get the year right.
1940s.
Because when did the movie come out?
2010.
Okay.
So you got aliens with technology from 2010.
Yep.
When do you posit that Dickbot was made?
Probably the year before this movie came out. So I'm thinking 2009. It's been out there for about a year.
So because he was made by the Japanese. So they've been sitting on this resentment.
No, wait, wasn't Dickbot made by the Americans? Or was that a trick bot?
No, Dickbot was made as a response to the American to America's ills
Retaliation
in World
of-
War II. Yeah.
Do we not say atomic bombs on the show?
No, we do, but I was keeping it broad.
Okay, good. Finish your thought.
Well, I mean,
There's a problem with the years, you think?
I just think it's unlikely that it was only designed, like it was designed, 60 years later. It seems like there's a long time to sit on some resentment.
Wait, from who?
Japan.
Bro, the Japanese know how to hold a grudge. Let me tell you that. They know two things. How to design an internal space in like a house or whatever to just make it baller as fucking hell, even though you're living in a shoebox, and dose to hold a grudge. Those are their specialties. Sushi comes in a close third.
And if the issue remains, if the aliens have more advanced technology than us humans, surely Coffee Guy triumphs 10 times out of 10.
It's comparable, but it's more advanced. But I cannot stress enough that Coffee Guy hasn't gone into combat here. He is like in a defensive mode. He is just trying to figure out where Dickbot is to shut him down at this point in time. So just
And his
give him a minute.
predominant lead is Samantha.
Yeah, he's obviously he's obviously got some sort of plan because, at the epilogue where he's having sex with Samantha, that is a good 11 months after the encounter with Coffee Guy. But there'll be a reason for that. Guy, here's the thing, man. I'm not going to pretend like I've got all of the answers. I'm just a fallible human caught up in a war between a man who is in charge of all of the vermin in New York City, of which there are millions, an artificial intelligence created by the greatest software engineers on the planet, and an advanced alien race. I am not even a pawn. I am a mere humble ant observing an intergalactic scale game of chess being played atop the plane on which I live. I cannot affect it, I can barely comprehend it, and all I can do is report what I see. And that is what I do.
You are a noble ant. An ant who knows their place. You understand the limitations of being an ant with regards to some things being greater than you. And I appreciate the intel that you have gathered on the storm that is a brewing. I salute ye, fair ant.
You've got to be very self-aware when you are an ant because there's a lot of vulnerabilities about. A bird might try and pick you, or there might be a rival ant from a different colony that's trying to wipe you guys out. So you've got to be on your guard. You've got to know your limitations. You've got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and of course, when to run.
Do you think that the life of an ant is more stressful than that of a human?
Yes, I do, because I think with being a human, at least the life that we seem to lead, there are moments when we're not in peril, and we maybe that's a false assumption, maybe not, but I don't think ants have that, even the false assumption of being asleep in their house and being like, you know what, I'm cool for the next 8 hours. I know there's no threat to me here. An ant is always under threat, and they are acutely aware of that. So they're just like constantly stressed.
Oh, that sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. But the other good thing about ants is they're very strong on doing things for the greater good.
Team players.
Good of the colony. God bless them, everyone. Now, Guy, I'd like to talk to you about our shining lights, and I would like you to come forward first. Like you take the first step into that.
I don't
gorgeous
remember
amber spotlight.
the exact phrasing, but as there is a flashback when Carrie recounts first meeting Charlotte in New York City when a homeless man flashed them on the subway. They are walking towards camera past a fountain, and there is a moving van or something similar to it in the background, a large van, and printed across the body of the van, it says, not exactly this, but something along the lines of Bible justice.
The best kind of justice.
I think it's Bible justice. And that was my shining light, that van, and the promise of whatever that person is delivering. If they're delivering Bible justice, then they've presumably got like lions in the back of the van that they're just releasing on, sinners.
On non-believers. Those bloody Romans.
On what's a non-believer called? A heathen?
I think a heathen is someone who actively does stuff that's bad. It's like Gentile, but I don't know what the Christian version of that is. Me being born and bred a Hasidic Jew and all.
A secular pussy boy.
That's the term. That's the one.
That was my shining light.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. My shining light was toward the very end of the film. When Carrie and Big are talking about the wedding. Seriously, dude. I can cut your mic and I will cut it. Stop. What's the point in doing anything if you're going to do that, What's the point in doing anything? I'll bring on my other co-host, the knife, and see how you feel about that.
It's too dark for the knife.
There you go. You've started talking again. God bless you. I can't even remember what the shining light was specifically, but it's them talking about the wedding. It's probably the vows. I think that's what I gravitated towards.
You liked the wedding vows.
Ever thine, ever mine, ever ours.
Oh, you like that?
The vows that were in, or supposed to be in the first movie, which we haven't seen, but it's alluded to once or twice in this movie. Are we going to watch the first one?
I was about to ask, do you have any desire to see the first movie?
None whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't really care.
I don't give a shit.
just don't fucking give a flying
I'm still not invested. That's the
fuck
hilarious thing.
about these people.
Hey, my Mattress Pikelet King, fucking hot tip here. Here's an email coming your way. Priority 1, dog. Subject line, check this shit out. I've seen your movie close to 50 times now, and I'm not invested enough to even want to see the first one. What does that tell you?
Mr. Pikelets. First of all, thank you for your delicious product, which I love to eat with jam and whipped cream.
Yes.
Secondly,
Hold on for a second. What kind of jam?
boysenberry.
Yes, you're correct. You got it right.
Of course I did. I know this man's Pikelets. The Posturepedic mattresses which you provide are not only fantastic for my back, but they're also just giving me some of the deepest and most enjoyable sleeps. Using the sleep app on my iPhone.
It's called sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah. Because it's not actually an app that tells you information about sleeping. It's an app that mainlines all of your social media feeds, and it taps into the anxieties you have in your brain. It's a very stressful app. Anyway, that app is having no effect on me because of the Posturepedic mattresses that you provide. In saying that,
Yeah.
I think you've spent too much of your time on Sex and the City 2 working on your mattresses and pikelets,
Yes.
and not enough. And also, obviously, instilling the monarchy in the United States of America. And not enough of
hold
it.
on. I missed that. What?
King.
Monarchy. Oh, okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Or, alternatively, introducing, like, cougar human wrestling hybrids. Tekken?
Oh, okay. Very good, very good, very good. He was obviously a tiger. You don't need to bring in an obscure jungle cat to that.
He wasn't a
reference.
tiger.
Yes, he was.
No.
He wasn't a cougar, for crying out loud.
He was closer to a cougar than a tiger.
He was a tiger.
He was not a
I might
tiger.
meet you in the middle with jaguar, maybe.
Jaguar.
Oh, leopard?
There you go.
But he didn't have...
There you go. He did have spots. He didn't have stripes. I'll tell you that. All I'm trying to say is that Mattress Pikelet Sinks shouldn't have made this movie. I say this, with supreme authority.
Yeah, I think we're the most qualified party to be able to weigh in on this one. If you don't mind, if you just give us a second. And hot tip, the verdict's in, and the verdict is this should not have been made.
Should have been made.
I would like to throw this over to Paul Scheer and his gorgeous wife and Jason Mantzoukas and say, hey guys, crawl over this one, because how did this one get made? June Day in Rayfield, how did this get made? You can't answer that question. There's no good answer to it.
It got made because people wanted to get paid.
Shit, that's pretty good, man.
Hey, thanks, bro.
That's really good.
Thanks. This
You know
is
who,
so bleak.
do you know who else wants to get paid though?
Tim Bat.
Nope, not this guy. I don't give a shit about money, dude. Money can fuck off. Money comes and money goes. It's only one thing I want to do. Let's hang out with my boy, Guy Montgomery.
That's all you want from life.
All I want from life.
That's terrifying.
Let me tell you.
We're doing it.
Let me tell you, somebody who wants the money. His name rhymes with oil rig.
Mr. Big.
He's got a big book
Huge.
with
Huge.
big ideas. Huge book, huge ideas. It's all massive.
It's all massive all the time.
And we're going to open it up. We're going to climb up that ladder in his personal library, pull that book off the shelf, that leather-bound, gorgeous tome of ideas and concepts. Put it down onto the oak dining table, dust it off. Blow it. Blow that dust off. Blow that dust off. We're going to open that up onto a random page and we're going to find one of them ideas, one of them gorgeous ideas.
Exclusively written in felt tips. All it says: ice cream sandwich, ? Spaghetti hat.
Yes.
It's terrifying. It's a lot of colours. He's written it with 5 felt tips at once, so it's sort of got a depth effect, or like a shadow effect.
So what he's doing there, guys, is he's going, foods can be more than the thing that you immediately think that they are. So you if I say the word ice cream to you, in your head, you're probably thinking ice cream in a cone, right? You're thinking of a hot summer day, ice cream in a cone.
That's usually
Maybe
what I'm
you're
thinking,
thinking
yes.
ice cream in a bowl. Maybe if you're like an adventurous, inventive person and you're creative, you're thinking of like a ice cream sundae, maybe something quite elaborate. There's like a banana split involved,
Wow.
some whipped cream, whatever.
Yes.
But do you know what you're not thinking about? You're not thinking about a fucking ice cream sandwich, because that took a true revolutionary to combine the concepts of an ice cream and a sandwich and put them together. What Mr. Big is doing is he's suggesting to you that spaghetti doesn't just need to be spaghetti. Every now and then, spaghetti can be a hat. There are times when that is called for and appropriate, and you should do it.
I think there's a religion.
The flying spaghetti monster.
Pastafarian.
They wear colanders on their heads.
So that's different.
It's similar but different.
I feel like what he's trying to get at here is, that because those ice cream sandwiches, first of all, never come in bread. So what's going on there?
You could get away with white bread as well with ice cream in there, eh? That'd be good. If you had like a bit of lightly toasted white bread and you put ice cream in there, that'd be a pretty good sandwich, I would think.
You can make fairy bread
Yeah,
and then put ice cream inside it. That's a yummy little ice cream sandwich.
it's delicious. Salivating thinking about it.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think what Mr. Big's trying to do, so he cooks the spaghetti and then he lays it out flat on a chopping board, and he takes like a cube. It's not a cube, it's flatter than a cube, but like
A square?
a square or a rectangle of ice cream.
Right.
He puts it on top of the pasta.
Right.
He wraps the pasta around the ice cream so that the ice cream is entirely sort of it's covered up by spaghetti.
Yeah, I got it.
And then he sort of, like a lasagna topper, he puts it in the oven.
Complex.
He bakes the ice cream into the spaghetti.
Complicated.
And then he takes it out and he puts it on his head.
Shit, man. That's some next level thinking.
God knows what he's doing. I feel like he might have finally lost his mind.
I can only hope that he knows what he's doing more than we do. So there's a motive here that we're not quite getting, but he's on top of it. He's a smart guy. He's a smart dude.
He's off his goddamn rocker. He's out of the house. He's left his rocker at home. He's off it. That is a stone cold fact.
Listen, dude. I'll paint a picture for you listening. We're in pitch black darkness again, similar to Slumber Party. It's pretty late at night. I'm pretty ready to put a pin in it. And I think we're going to do that.
Fuck you.
Me? Me. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Do you want to expound on that?
Nah. I like you, but I've got to be angry at something that's not me. You're the only other person in the room.
Fair enough. If you're in America, we've got some pretty big things planned soon, and we will get into that. We'll try and bust out another one of those mini episodes, so that if you don't give a shit about stuff that's not us watching the movie, you can just skip over it. But if you're in LA, we've got a very exciting thing coming up. And if you're in New York, we were sold out in the event, but so we've changed to a bigger venue. So we should have some more tickets on the way very soon.
Yeah, we all the tickets to Union Hall got bought, but fret not, my feline friend. You can still buy tickets on behalf of your human compatriots. As
we'll get into that in the mini thing. So those who don't give a shit can continue to not give a shit. But I want to say this: I love you guys.
What do you think about me? You're not sure, eh?
No, I'm not.
I mean well.
Yeah, I think I agree with that sentiment, and I think I know that your intentions are good, but
My intentions are pure. Kiss me on the floor. I wanna kiss you some more.
We're out of here, guys. Say goodbye to everybody.
Hey, everyone. Take a long, hard look at yourself. Because if you've made it this far into this conversation, something's going on. The wiring's off.
It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time.